What's up, y'all? Welcome to Weezy's Weekend Windup. Happy Friday to everyone from Florida with love. I'm joined today by my man, Mr. Johnny B, also known as John Brissom, also known as host of We've Read the Documents. What's up, John?
Glad to be here, Weezy. Thank you for having me, brother. Hope everybody's doing well out there.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's one of these very rare and limited Friday episodes that I do.
Special edition.
Special edition. I've been off of work for a few weeks, but I will be back in the saddle on Monday. So I just try to smash out as many episodes as I could during this time of repose, if you know what I says. So anyways, I wanted to do a couple of topics, and then I'm going to have my buddy John and I break them down, give our thoughts and opinions. Lots to cover. Wild week again. And I wanted to start off the show with playing the entire audio, 3.5-minute audio of the alleged Virginia Roberts Giuffre kill switch audio tape. It came out not too long ago, and it hasn't been talked about a lot. And I'll give my opinions after we listen to it as to probably why it hasn't been talked about. But given that you and I are enthusiasts in the whole Epstein saga, I thought we could cover it and break it down. So let me play that for you. Let's see, present, share screen.
If you're watching this, it means they got me. My dead man switch activated automatically after I missed 2 scheduled check-ins. I had it set up months ago because I knew this day was coming. I did not die by accident. I was murdered to keep their secrets buried. My name is Virginia Louise Giuffre. I was one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. I survived Little St. James, but survival came at a price. I saw too much, knew too much, and now they've silenced me. But it's too late for them. They thought killing me would bury their secrets, but this video is going to a few organizations I trust, ones that have been exposing the truth for decades. You know who you are. It's your job to continue this fight. I was 16 when they reeled me in. I worked at Mar-a-Lago, folding towels, cleaning lockers. My father kept the tennis courts immaculate. We were just working folks trying to scrape by. Trump, he was around, but he was never the threat. The real predator was Ghislaine Maxwell, prim and proper, smiling, promising to teach me massage therapy at the Pink Mansion in Palm Beach. I had no idea I was being fed into a nightmare machine. Epstein's Island was hell disguised as paradise. You've heard some names linked to him, but those are just the sacrificial pawns. The real players, the ones they've protected at all costs, are still hiding in plain sight. I'll name 2 now. The first, a former U.S. president, Barack Obama. Publicly, he's revered. Privately, he was one of the worst. He wasn't there for the girls. He was there for the island boys. Young boys, trafficked and groomed. I saw him more times than I can count, always without his Secret Service detail, sometimes with his Hollywood friends, George Clooney and Tom Hanks. I still have nightmares about them, arrogant and drunk on power, slinking into the cabanas with kids barely out of childhood. The second, Bill Gates, the billionaire philanthropist, loved by the media, hailed as a savior. We called him the benefactor, and we used to dread seeing him naked. But he didn't come to party. He came to experiment. Genetic experiments, human experiments. I saw him inject a young girl with something they said was a genetic enhancement. She was younger than me, strapped to a table, terrified, treated like a lab rat while they muttered about seeding the future of the species. These men think they are gods, playing with life like it was theirs to own. I'm telling you now, Epstein isn't dead. They staged his death because he was too valuable. He held blackmail on some of the most powerful people on earth. Files, videos, confessions. They couldn't risk him talking, but they also couldn't risk him gone, so they hid him. Stashed him under the protection of the same elite who once paid him to supply them with flesh. And they thought killing me would stop this from coming out. They were wrong, and there is so much more to come. Hidden servers, encrypted drives, witness testimonies. It's all going to hit the light. This video is just the first detonation. The data drops are timed and automatic. They are going to people who can make a difference, and nobody can stop it now. Not even the law enforcement agencies in the US and UK, the same ones that buried the evidence I handed you, are the resistance. Don't let my death be just another headline. Burn their lies to the ground. Make the world see the monsters behind the masks. And to any survivors out there, don't give up. We're in this together. They can't kill us all. Make them.
So I am only laughing because I think it's all fake.
Yeah.
I think it's messed up. It's despicable. And
Disgusting.
yeah, the hints are all there. For me, and I want to get your thoughts, John, but for me, as soon as I heard it, I could tell it was fake. The cadence sounded off, sounded AI. And when she starts off saying that at the minute mark, let me play that again. At the minute mark, she says, Trump, like, it's just so weird. And she says it in a way to make sure everyone realizes that Trump is completely innocent. So let's play that again.
Cleaning lockers. My father kept the tennis courts immaculate. We were just working folks trying to scrape by. Trump, he was around, but he was never the threat.
Yeah, that was another.
The enunciation, right?
Yeah, Trump. So and then the other part later on, he says that Epstein was the guy that did this. From what we have been told during this entire Epstein saga was that Virginia knew Jeff and Ghislaine on a first name basis.
Yep.
So why would she refer to him as Epstein? She should have been calling him Jeff, so on and so forth. And then the whole inserting of Obama and left wingers, no right wingers, just left wingers. That's another dead giveaway. And then at the very end, where she basically says, "We're in this together." Where have we heard that? That was from QAnon.
Yep,
where one goes, what is
where
it?
We go one, we go all.
Yeah. So it's 100% QAnon fabricated nonsense, man. And so it's ridiculous. What are your thoughts, John?
The naming of Bill Gates, where to my knowledge, Virginia Roberts Giuffre never named Bill Gates directly or had any involvement with Bill Gates. Not saying that she didn't believe that Bill Gates had any connections to Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell, but just that she never directly, to my knowledge, named having any experience or interaction with Bill Gates. So that was a red flag to me. You mentioned the end as well, too. It was very, we're all in this together. They can't stop the truth. They can't stop what's coming. That's all QAnon language. That's all loaded QAnon language. And on top of that, the mentioning of that Ghislaine Maxwell was the head. No mention of Lex Wexner was also. Why pin it all on Ghislaine? That's odd. And so, yes, I believe that Ghislaine Maxwell was higher up than Jeffrey Epstein was. If we're talking about like a hierarchy chart, Jeff Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, Lex Wexner, and so on and so forth. Right. But there's a lot of things off on there. I mean, the cadence, like you mentioned, it's obviously not her voice. Like the one-sided framing of just calling out the Democrats' involvement of Epstein, but not the Republicans. It's fake. The moment I heard it, I knew it was fake. I have a decent uncanny valley detector. It's not perfect, but it didn't line up with anything that she said previously beforehand, and it didn't really go anywhere. And the reason why it didn't really go anywhere, because it's fake. Like, I understand they propagate fake stuff all the time, but this is so fake for anybody who understands the Jeffrey Epstein nexus, or even can. It's not even a good AI fake. It's a poorly butchered one. So it's
Yeah.
definitely digital soldier, psychological psyop slop. At least in my opinion. So
Yeah, I'm of the same way. And if this was the first time you listen to it, and maybe you're like, "Oh man, that's messed up. What if it's real? What if it's real?" Listen to it again.
yeah,
Listen to
yeah,
it again.
yeah.
Second time around, it should be clear that it's completely fabricated nonsense. So it is troubling too, though, man. It goes back to something I've been harping on for the last little while, is how good AI is coming along. I mean, yeah, it's the second time around you could notice it, but it's not horrible, man. I mean, a few months back, something like that would have been even more clunky and
Correct.
stuff like that. But here, if you're looking for it, this is what I mean. If you thought it was real that first time, listen to it again. Listen to the abrupt cuts
Mhm.
before she starts her next sentence. You can hear it. Now, a few months back, if they would have tried, some AI stuff, it would have been, in my opinion, a lot worse. So it is getting better, but you can still tell right now, as of right now, what's going to happen when even, oh man, you know what I
Within
mean?
a year
What,
or two.
oh, that's what scares me right
But
there.
her
Because,
inflection is off in many points, like you had mentioned, especially with the Trump, right? That's not a natural cadence. That's not natural speak. If you go back and compare it to, I'm pretty sure if someone was able to do audio analysis or audio forensics, right, and they compared it to her real voice, there'd be numerous artifacts
yeah,
and parts that are incorrect.
yeah, yeah, 100%. But, that's part of the psyops, just all around us, man.
So
And,
why
and,
so
and
why do you think this is being propagated, Wheezy?
I don't know. I don't know.
To
I don't know.
exonerate Trump in the minds of people would be
That
one?
that's that's definitely a part of it for sure. Because in the first minute, at the very beginning of it, they lay down. Yes, she worked at Mar-a-Lago. Because when you talk about Virginia Roberts working at Mar-a-Lago, immediately Trump gets connected.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
And so then, even if you are a Trump believer or you're a Trump apologist, you have to try to play these mental gymnastics like, damn, that is weird. He got picked up at Mar-a-Lago. What's this little kid working there? And if you notice, she's talking about folding towels, keeping the grounds. So nothing, nothing nefarious, completely innocent. And so this piece goes out of its way to pave that way. Look, Trump was all good. Nothing wrong with Trump. Now let's focus on people that have never really ever been brought up with Epstein, like Barack Obama.
Yeah.
We're going to bring something. Trump is way tied in, but we're going to bring in someone that doesn't get mentioned or connected. And so it seems like pro-Trump propaganda, 100% sure, or, for sure. Now, what is the rest of the angle? I'm not entirely sure, man. But it's interesting. I wanted to play it, even though I think it's fake as hell because of the fact that you and I are both, we have enjoyed covering this case because it's been going on for quite some time, and I don't know what it is. I think for me, the reason I like the Epstein stuff is because even for normies, when you bring it up, they have a hard time. Like, oh man, that is weird. That is weird that all these elites were involved with this philanthropist or this guy, and he's connected to people on the left and the right, to scientists, Hollywood, religious figures. He took a picture with the Pope, so it's it's interconnected to everything. So people that try to dismiss this loony way of thinking, talk to me. Let's talk some Jeff Epstein. So that I think that's for me why I like covering it. So let's move on, because I don't want to get too deep into it. If anything, we can cover these articles and then cut off the YouTube stream and then go in super deep. Because you know how it is. I think if our buddy Twisted was here, he probably wouldn't be holding any punches.
It'd already be cut off already.
Yeah, be like, oh, damn, I got to terminate the stream. So the next on the list is the Israel-Iran conflict.
Yes.
And holy smokes, the timeline of it started about a week ago now. We're about a week in where Israel had Mossad agents in Iran sabotaging, doing these exquisite displays of terrorism. There's no other way to call it, but what they did was terrorize Iran completely unprovoked.
Mm-hmm.
And Iran fired back, is what we're being told. And so there's been some back and forth. And I can't help but you can't unsee the propaganda that's being displayed out when you realize that the timeline, and I want to show the timeline of the whole Iran having nukes. This thing goes way the hell back, and when you have constant propaganda being thrown at you, the Iranians are going to attack us. They're months away from having a nuke. They've been saying this for decades, the same damn thing. So here's a simple timeline of Iran's nuclear program. It's from thebulletin.org by Matt Field, June 19th, 2025. Let's see. Iran's nuclear program has been a long-standing problem. Many U.S. presidential administrations have struggled with it, as have many international organizations and foreign governments. To help make sense of it all, below is a chronology of key highlights. July 1968, Iran signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, or NPT, as a non-nuclear weapon state, agreeing not to seek such weapons in the future, despite the obligation. After the 1979 revolution that deposed Iran's Western allied leader, the country secretly worked to develop nuclear weapons, including by initiating a uranium enrichment program and crafting a plan to make a test weapons. August of 2002, an Iranian opposition group revealed secret underground nuclear facilities at Natanz and Arak, meant for enriching uranium and producing heavy water, respectively. Iran claimed that they were intended to play a role in civilian nuclear power, but the United States questioned whether the oil and gas-rich country needed the facilities, alleging they were intended for nuclear weapons-related work. And then back in October 2003, September 2009, June 2010, September 2015, and it's just a long timeline of Iran developing nuclear weapons. And you will find people have posted some of these. Let me show that. I do have that of headlines every single time, whether it's in the 80s. Here's one, and here's a Israeli newspaper in 1984. Iran is in the final stages of making a nuclear bomb. 30 years on, still no sign of a bomb, is what this thing says. And then I also want to play.
I will say, as far as the meme is concerned, unless we have someone who can speak, would be able to translate that. We're not for sure whether or not the newspaper actually says that or not, to be fair. Now, that being said, though, however, you are right that they've been saying that Iran has had a nuke forever and a day. So that, I do agree with you wholeheartedly on that. But as far as that meme is concerned, unless someone can translate, or we could put it through Google Translate or something like that, we have no idea what the headline says, to be fair, Weezy.
No, I got you. Yeah, no, that's fine. And I agree with you. I have found other articles though.
Definitely so.
American newspapers showing that Iran is months away. Iran is months
Yep.
away. And it doesn't matter if it's in the 80s, it doesn't matter if it's in the 90s, 1995. Every single time, that's why I kind of just brushed over the timeline. Every time they announce these timelines, it's always Iran is months away.
Yep.
It's months away. They've been months away for decades at this point. 40, 50 years they've been months away from having a nuke. And I have my own thoughts on nukes.
And did you see the New York Times came out and said that, I want to read this to you. Some American officials say those new assessments echoed material provided by Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency, which believes that Iran can achieve a nuclear weapon in 15 days, Weezy. We have a 15-day timeline countdown now.
Yeah.
Really? Like, supposedly, from what I've heard, I go back between Mario Nafal's pro-Mossad spaces and Salomon's pro-Russian Dugin spaces on X. Supposedly, allegedly, Russia delivered Iran a detonator. So we're supposed to believe that narrative that's being pushed, where they literally have 2 weeks where they can produce a working atomic bomb, a nuclear bomb, missile, ICBM or whatever, and then they can produce it, use it against Israel. Like, really, we're supposed to believe that they, again, the whole narrative that it's been decades that they've had it or working on it or this close, right? And somehow now during this, Iran-Israel war, within 14 days, they really will have it this time, Weezy. To your point, that's insanity. Who believes that? Boomers watching Fox News?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to show more propaganda. This is why I wanted to start off with the propaganda angle, because unfortunately, there are some people that still believe this threat. And what I want to show is, look, this threat has been going on forever. It echoes the sentiment of what happened with the weapons of mass destruction. Weapons of mass destruction that turned out to be weapons of mass deception.
Yep.
And so it seems like they're coming at it again. And a lot of the same tactics that were used then are being used now. For example, another one is let's see. Okay. World War I, there were babies on bayonets. So basically what happened was the Germans were white. Most of America was white. So how were you going to get most Americans to go to war with your fellow whites? People that look like you? You had to convince them that the Germans were indeed different. They were savages. They were brutal. They were brutes. So propaganda came out with babies on bayonets, that the Germans were out there bayoneting babies. Then you fast forward later on, it's always been used, killing baby propaganda, because it doesn't take a rocket scientist. When you talk about killing babies, the vast majority of people are going to get pissed off and angry and pissed off. And it works. You're playing on people's emotions. Then we fast forward to Iraq, where we saw that she turned out to be the daughter of royal Saudis, saying that Iraq was taking babies out of incubators and slamming them on the ground. And it worked. People got angry and upset. We need to do something about Saddam Hussein. And that turned out to be a lie as well. Now, a couple years ago, we saw same type of propaganda against Palestinians by Israel, talking about 40 beheaded babies. No evidence was ever presented for that claim, but it was used to tug at people's heartstrings.
Correct.
And then I saw this morning. This is from the New York Post, straight up propaganda outlet.
Right-wing propaganda outlet, by the way.
Yeah, this is by Emily Crane, published June 20th, 2025. Ukrainian girl in Israel for life-saving leukemia treatment tragically killed by Iranian airstrikes. Huh. Let's read it. A 7-year-old girl who left war-torn Ukraine to get life-saving leukemia treatment in Israel has been killed by an Iranian airstrike, according to heartbroken and devastated Israeli officials. Nastia Boric died when an Iranian missile struck their apartment in Bat Yam last weekend, with her mom, grandmother, and 2 cousins killed alongside her, Israeli officials said. We are heartbroken and devastated, the State of Israel's X account said in a post. So if I believed that to be real, I would be, damn, man, I'd be crying my heartstrings. But, and I want to get your thoughts, John. To me, it seems like straight up propaganda. What are the odds of a Ukrainian girl being in Israel, getting leukemia, cancer, and then getting her whole family getting wiped out by Iranian bomb strikes? And all the information we have there is from the Israel's, official state account. This is their propaganda. To me, it's clear propaganda. What are your thoughts, Sean?
I would likely agree with you. I think you're correct about that. We have no other that I've seen confirmation outside of the official Israeli account. For one, it isn't completely implausible if her family was Jewish for them to go to Israel for treatment to return to their quote unquote homeland, right? But however, I will say that it's extremely interesting, as you had mentioned, that the only confirmation that we have is the Israeli account itself that I've seen put out that story. So even the odds are, for example, right now, there is a media blanket over Israel as far as people taking videos of missile strikes, people reporting on missile strikes and the damage that has been done in Tel Aviv. The Israeli government arresting people that are putting out videos and stuff like that and everything. But somehow this is reported, but with what evidence, right? Like normally you would have reporters go and interview the families, get some sort of statement, maybe get some sort of statement from like the doctors who were treating the girl or something like that. But we really don't have really much that I could tell. Not saying that doesn't exist. We just don't have it yet. And maybe it's out there and I just haven't seen it. But the point is you're right. Like, what are the odds? What are the odds of this, for one? And I would even say it's even quite low, even if they were Jewish. Okay. Second, Israeli just, officially reporting on Twitter, even though there's a media blackout for anybody who's not an approved Israeli source. Now, to be fair, in Iran, they greatly throttled the internet. Okay. So they're holding their own, trying to keep the truth out of how bad the damage is as far as the missile strikes in Israel are concerned. Too, they're stifling speech as well in Iran. So much so that Elon Musk, the technocratic savior, turned on Starlink because someone X asked him to turn on Starlink for Iran. Really? I'm supposed to believe that narrative? Come on, Weezy. I wasn't born yesterday. All right. But anyway, and I'd like to get your thoughts on that. The use of Starlink in Ukraine, the use of Starlink in, Iran, the setting up, giving Starlink a voice to people when the internet goes down, like they did in Asheville, North Carolina, right? When they gave them free Starlink satellites to use in national emergency, and someone X saying, you should use it for free for national emergency, Elon Musk. And he was like, yeah, we'll give them an access to 911 and we'll partner with T-Mobile to do it. Now I have T-Mobile, and T-Mobile literally integrated with Starlink. So there you go. Right. But again, to me, that seems to be a narrative at play as well, too, right? So I agree with you. This seems a little bit too, quote unquote, convenient, and there's not enough evidence to truly back up that this story is real outside of likely Israeli propaganda. And it does play into, like you're saying, the common use of, oh, dear Lord, think of the children, okay, as a narrative to get people to justify to go to war. It's something they've played over and over and over again. Think about Syria and the white helmets and in the gas, right? The gassing of women and children, right? Being played even for them too, right? So this is a common trope time and time again to whip people up in an emotional frenzy. And to be fair, to be honest, if women or children are dying, obviously that would anger anyone, especially us who have children, right? But that's why they play that card. So, again, to me, this seems too convenient. To me, we need more validation from outside sources, and I don't think we're ever going to get that. And we'll see if this is used as justification for us to go to war with Iran. I don't think it's enough right now in and of itself, like it was with the incubators, with Iraq. I don't think it's enough by itself, but it could be added to other things that occur that might be FFs or not, that could lead to a justification for a war with Iran. Would you agree with that?
100%. And that's a perfect segue to this next little video clip that I want to play. It's not just going to take that. It seems like they're throwing the whole kitchen sink to get the public behind this war. And I want to play this clip for you now. And I did get your links. Let me just play this video. All right.
The first one's the only one I want you to show. It goes to what we've been saying.
All right. Let's play this video. Let's listen to it.
Okay.
Right now, the Iranian regime is bombing our civilian neighborhoods while we are targeting the terrorists. Now, this is not new. They've tried to assassinate President Trump twice.
It gets better.
Now, pause this for a minute.
Yeah.
This is not happening right now. This was years ago, where the Iranian parliament was chanting "Death to America" or whatever. That was years ago. It's not right now. So that's a lot of propaganda to make people think that this is occurring right now. This happened years ago. Okay.
Yeah. Excellent point.
And I believe it happened when Trump disregarded Barack Obama's Iranian deal. I think that's when this happened, if I remember correctly, during Trump's first term. So again, they're trying to make you think this is happening right now. It's not happening right now. To my knowledge, it's not happening right now. But this was old.
So. Correct. All right. Propaganda city right here. So what the screen showed was "Death to America" for those audio listeners. All right. And it ties into what me and John believe to be the fake assassination attempt. So let's let the propaganda play out a little bit more. Oh my goodness.
Two
assassination attempts on Trump. So for people listening to audio, they just showed the Butler comedy scene where Trump allegedly got his head almost blown off, allegedly. And they're playing this dramatic music. They've got this crazy font, 2 assassination attempts on Trump by Iran.
Now, I do want to add, do you know who supposedly is trying to broker peace with Iran? One of the people supposedly, allegedly? Steve Witkoff. Well, Witkoff was there at the so-called second assassination attempt at the golf course. So if Iran tried to kill him and Trump, wouldn't you think he'd be a little mad and not trying to, quote-unquote, help with negotiations, whether they're happening or not, with Iran? They can't even keep the stories straight. Weezy. They can't even keep them straight.
Yeah, man. See, you and I, we can see right through it. And I think most of the people that listen to us are along the same wavelengths, where we see this crap and we can laugh about it. We can mock it because we know we understand the propaganda angle. But there will be people that go along with it. So what's this?
Trump retruthed that last night.
Hey, can you read it for us? What's it
We
say?
will never forget, in September 2016, the Obama administration admitted paying $1.7 billion to Iran. Scroll down and look at the meme with Barack Hussein Obama with all that money. We know who was responsible for Iran's nuke program. It ties up everything, right? Barack Obama, the Virginia Griffey video, right? Iran's nuke program, right?
Damn, that's wild. Yeah, you tie it in. So that AI tape video, I mean, cute, damn that it fits in.
And it's a little different,
Fits
right?
in like a damn glove, man. It fits
Uh,
in better than the OJ glove for sure. Holy smokes. Yeah, that's wild, man. I'm glad you pulled that up because I had not seen that. Uh and let's see. I suppose let's discuss it more because I mean, this is key. The whole propaganda is right there in front of us. This is why I said earlier on, this is just like weapons of mass destruction 2.0. And what I don't understand is a lot of people that claim to be in the quote unquote truth community, every single one of them will now know, yeah, the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq was complete fabricated nonsense.
Yep.
Just like the whole 9/11 story, but that's a different topic for when we get off.
But the weapons of mass destruction is even in normies believe that. Like you ask them, like it's accepted, it's accepted.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And so the reason I'm bringing that up is because now we have a very eerily similar situation. And the latest with that is that Trump is going to give it 2 weeks to mull it over, pun intended, because of the mullah. Mull it over, and he's going to make his decision. And there's so many aspects to it. Even Tulsi Gabbard, who I've got no faith in any of these clowns, but even Tulsi Gabbard not too long ago said that Iran was way off from being close to making nukes. And so even within his own administration, they're like, dude, what are you doing? And he is kind of sidestepping them.
But now she came out and said she's completely lockstep with Trump, though, Weezy.
Yeah. Just like Charlie Kirk and everyone, they hey, fall in line, or there's going to be some repercussions. And I just want people to realize, man, even if you disagree with me on Trump and you still think he's a good guy, even though I have continuously showed you evidence to the contrary, he's just another puppet, no different than any other administration. You have to see the pattern. They want you to support a war against Iran.
Yeah.
And if we don't support it, we're like, no, screw that shit. One of the encouraging things is I'm seeing a lot of these pro-Trump propaganda pushers on X, big accounts, millions of followers, that get tons of interactions on X. A lot of them are going overtime right now, full time. I support I stand with Trump no matter what. And anyone that dissents, those are traitors. They are not with us. We're going to hunt them down. We're going to take screenshots of them being against Trump, and we're going to use it against them later on. They're threatening people. They're I don't know, man. What's your take on seeing these PSYOP influencers on the media trying to rally the troops, for support against Iran?
Well, on X, like I said, I'm one part listening to the Mario Nafal spaces, and the next part I'm listening to the Salomon spaces, right? So the Salomon spaces, they want you to be pro-Russia. They want you to be pro-Iran. Obviously I'm neither pro-Israel or pro-Iran. Both governments are heavily corrupt. And now I understand that the Israeli government, though, has more long-reaching corruption around the world than the Iranian government does. But I'm not going to sit here and say that the Iranian government is perfect in any stretch of the imagination. Ayatollah Khomeini is not some sort of dictator. He is. Okay, let's be fair here. All right. But that being said, however, they want to act like Iran has done nothing wrong ever at all, which is not true. And then you have Mario Nafal, the pro-Mossad spaces, want to make you think that Israel's never done anything wrong, and, kind of pushing the pro-Zionist propaganda, right? on both sides. So you have Laura Loomer coming out, literally pretty much saying that Israel first is MAGA, right? For lack of a better words, and her getting in fight with everybody, including her friends like Owen Schroyer from InfoWars. We're completely, again, you and I would differ here, but I believe if, eschatologically, the Jews have to return to Israel, right? You're going to have the quote unquote noticing, right? And so the Jewish people, and I've talked about this as part of the Summer of Love 2.0 PSYOP. We're in PSYOP season right now, right? Majority of the Jewish talking head accounts, not the average Jewish person that lives in America. Most Jews that live in America are progressive anyway, right? So a lot of them actually do side with the Palestinians. Okay. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. Okay. If you look at the kind of like the statistics. Anyway, like I was saying is you have Mark Levin being out there with Rabbi Shmuley Boteach. All right. And you have them just like, there's no self-awareness. They have no self-awareness. Laura Loomer has no self-awareness. They all are just going all in for Iran, all in to kill the Muslims, like almost like bloodthirsty, and it's making people, especially kind of like the anti-war side of MAGA, right? Even though Trump was bombing Yemen during his first presidency, okay? It's turning them off, right? It's like there's no self-awareness with these people to go, hey, what Israel is doing to the Palestinians, that's wrong. It's no matter what Israel does, they can't ever do wrong, right? So it makes people angry and upset at them. You're even having boomers now starting to question Israel. Not a lot, but it's happening. And people our age, I saw a recent poll where they went from 40%, like 60% supporting Israel like 20 years ago to now 45% if they're conservative and 32% if they're progressive. Okay. So that's a major shift in demographics. And I almost wonder since October 7th, if that's completely accelerated the shift.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, like you have influencers on both sides that want you to be angry. They want you to be in your emotions. And if you you and I are anti-Zionist, okay? They want us to hate the Jewish, civilians and the Jewish people in Israel. Like they want us, to be angry at them and to hate them. And if you're on the other side, if you're pro-Zionist, they want you to hate the Iranian civilians and the Iranian people and make them look like they're the other, to make them look like they're not even people, that they're not even human, okay? And so that's what the algorithm is driving on X, people to be emotional, people to get angry, people to get hateful. And that's why when you go on and you see all these influencers, it reminds me of this. It was something you and I have talked about a lot, Weezy. Sports. They want you to pick a team. Which team are you behind? Which team are you going to cheer for? Which team are you going to defend no matter what they do? Okay. And yes, I'm for the Israeli people. I'm for the Iranian people. Okay. Both of their governments are extremely corrupt. I'm not getting behind. I'm not picking a team as far as governments are concerned in this. Okay. This is ridiculous. All right. But they want you to, and they want you to look at the other side and hate them, to degrade them to the point where they don't even exist. And so that's why you can excuse the crimes of the Israeli government. You can excuse the crimes of the Iranian government by looking them as not being people, okay? And so these PSYOP influencers, I would say that Laura Loomer really does believe, because she's insane, that the Iranian people are pretty much demons. I don't think she's faking that. I think she really believes that, And so, and I guess one last thing, and I will get your opinion on it. Rabbi Shmuley Boteach was Tucker Carlson's Kabbalah teacher. Right now, they're fighting each other. Right now, all of a sudden, people that used to question Tucker, even people who are progressives, loved his performative piece of him versus Teddy Boy Cruz. Good old CMP Ted Cruz. Tucker, a lifelong Mockingbird agent who flunked out of the CIA just like Anderson Vanderbilt Cooper, okay? All of a sudden, people who are anti-Zionists are all of a sudden saying Tucker Carlson owned Ted Cruz. Look how much he owned him. Really? all of a sudden we're going to rope in that Tucker's our guy because he holds one of the stances that we have and forget everything else. Come on now. We should be better than that. All right. It's ridiculous. All right. So that's how I feel. People may feel against me on that, but that's just how I feel. You can't trust Tucker just because you agree with him on one thing. Tucker's not to be trusted. All right. And I'm not saying that Tucker destroyed Ted Cruz. All right. But it still doesn't make him our guy.
I agree with you, man. So you and I did a PSYOP influencers. The original one did real great. And then I did a PSYOP influencers last week with 7Cs, and same thing, man. He was going over Tucker Carlson. And one thing that I said, and I hold this stand, whenever you see these guys with these millions of followers, it doesn't matter if it's Tucker Carlson or Candace, they could say from time to time things that we agree with. That doesn't mean they're our guys. In my opinion, the entire alternative media has been influenced or infiltrated. And that's where a lot of people are these days. A lot of people don't trust mainstream stuff. So they go to these quote unquote people that are alternative media, whether it's a Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, a Ben Shapiro, even the Young Turks, Jimmy Dore. They go to these people because left, right, whatever, these are the alternative media. But I don't trust those guys either because they're making some pretty good scratch. They have a large following. They are told what they can or can't talk about, what issues they can or can't touch. And so, unfortunately, and it sounds like I'm a hater, and you can believe that, but I just don't trust any of them. It doesn't matter if they're left influencers or right influencers or even down the middle. Joe Rogan. Like I said, we did a breakdown on Joe Rogan last week, and his base is mostly for centrists, and it's all co-opted. And it does a good job because most people do tend to fall in the middle of things. And, just going back to this this whole propaganda campaign that's being thrown upon us, I just want people to keep that in mind. This is what they're trying to push, whether it's the fake assassination attempt. Some people will say, why would they fake it? They'll even mention, Capitore died.
Yeah, Cord Carpenter.
Yeah. I don't want to because I'm on YouTube right now, I don't want to get too in detail. I've done episodes. Go search through my stuff, look for Trump assassination. I've broke it down. I've told you and described why I think it was fake. Because a lot of people, how come this? How come that? I already talked about it. Go back and listen to those damn episodes. I don't want to get into it right now. But one of the reasons that I do want to get into as to why it would be fake is this. Even after the Butler Trump assassination, quote unquote, attempt, they immediately started saying there were Iranian ties to it.
Yep.
Immediately. And I was like, man, this is fake as hell. It was all designed for this propaganda. So now we have a Ukrainian child in an Israeli hospital getting bombed by the Iranians. The Iranians were weeks away from developing nukes. They tried to kill President Trump twice.
But do you remember the Weezy, I want to say, do you remember the allegations of Ryan Weasley Ralph, the golf course shooter, and his connections to Ukraine too, right? To bring it all back and forth. So, I mean, what Iranian connections to the second shooter when he had vast connections to Ukraine? At least that's what was reported as far as, it's reported on X, but there's various interviews that he did with the New York Times, for example, where, he was recruiting foreign soldiers for Ukraine for the war against Russia. So, you have Ukrainian ties with the second so-called shooter, right? So again, it's Ukraine and Iran. That's odd, but it is what it is,
Yeah. So I have this Truth Social clip up. What's this about?
No, so this is the quote unquote narratives that are going on right now. All three of these are quote unquote Q proofs, meaning it was something that Q had said. Trump retruthed this. Trump actually said, I was the hunted and now I'm the hunter, which was a Q drop. Okay. So trust the plan, obviously. Nothing can stop what's coming, which is called Nick's whip or whatever wick. And then I am, the hunted and the hunter. They actually had the poster for the hunt for Red October with Trump superposed on there for I am the hunted. Now I've become the hunter. Okay, that was part of the Q drop as well too. And Trump said that publicly, talking about Iran.
Yeah. So I want to make this interjection because I want to do one more article and then I want to get into a little bit deeper. So we've been watching our language as much as we can because I am on YouTube. If you are on YouTube, there's not many. I used to get hundreds and hundreds of people on YouTube, but I've been shadow banned, hardcore, throttled. Even when I leave YouTube comments on other videos, it could be a lion eating a warthog. I'm like, whoa, what an awesome kill. My comment disappears. I'm so shadow banned. So if you are on YouTube, if you go to the description of this video that you are watching live right now or later on when it uploads, you'll find my Odyssey and Rumble channels. Please follow me there. So when I stop the stream here, the rest of the show will continue and it will be on those channels where I can speak more freely. I have to watch what I say on this platform. So I'm only putting that little thing. And you can also in the description find John Brisson's, if you've loved his takes. He is on YouTube. We've read the documents and you can find his link tree down there as well. So let's get on to our next article before we can get real deep. And like I said, once the stream ends, we will be on Rumble and Odyssey only. So I appreciate everyone's support. And if you want to follow me there, it looks like some people have left there. A lot. We have a good little crowd on Rumble right now too. So if you think it's dead on YouTube, it is dead. Just go to the Rumble channel. It's a lot more hopping there. All right. Next article will be. So for the longest time, we heard people making fun of people with Obama phones. It was a lot of right wingers, largely Trump supporters. Oh, look at these Obama phones. Look at all these Obama phones. Recently, Trump announced that he would have a Trump phone. Let me read this article, and I know you have some insights, and maybe and after we read this article, I'm going to shut the stream off on YouTube. So hit those links and join us there on Rumble and Odyssey. If you are on YouTube right now, I would encourage that. All right. This is by Fortune magazine by Vern Kopitoff. June 18, 2025. Unless the Trump family secretly built a U.S. factory, industry experts say the $500 made in America smartphone is a fantasy. Donald Trump's family business is putting the president's name behind something that few have dared to produce in years, a made in America smartphone. The Trump organization, led by the president's eldest sons, said on Monday that it has licensed Donald Trump's name to a new wireless service and a gold-colored phone. The T1, as the device is called, is supposed to be available in August for $499, I'm sorry, and is proudly designed and built in the United States, the company said in a statement. But the patriotic pitch drew immediate skepticism, and not just over President Trump trying to cash in again while in office. Several tech industry insiders question whether selling a made-in-America phone is even possible within just a few months, considering most electronics manufacturing is done overseas because of expensive domestic labor, a shortage of skilled workers, and a lack of suppliers. As someone who spent over a decade building a secure, privacy-first smartphone, focusing on manufacturing in the U.S., and I can say this with confidence, producing a fully U.S.-made phone isn't something you spin up overnight, said Todd Weaver, CEO of Purism, the only company currently producing a U.S.-made smartphone. If the Trump phone is promising a $499 price tag with domestic manufacturing, This announcement looks to be classic vaporware.
Hmm.
Purisms, a U.S. made phone, the Liberty phone, costs $650 to produce, according to Weaver, and retails for $2,000. The markup covers some of the additional administrative costs for security conscious customers who want to verify the phone supply chain, along with Purism's profit. T1, in contrast, would retail for just a fraction of that price, raising questions about how such a U.S. made device would be profitable. The Trump organization didn't disclose which company will make the T1 or where it will be produced. Shocking. It only gave some technical specifications, including that it will run on Google's Android operating system, come with a fingerprint sensor and facial recognition for unlocking, and have a 6.8-inch screen. So if you want to read the rest of the article, it is from Fortune magazine, as I stated. I'm going to end the YouTube stream. So if you are on YouTube at this moment in time, go to the description right now, go to Rumble and Odyssey, and we will wait for you there. Thank you guys for coming out. Let's see. Coming out there. And how the hell do I end this? Sorry. Okay, remove. There we go. All right. Thanks, everyone on YouTube. Please come over to Odyssey and Rumble. Much love.